All right, let's talk about something we have all been through. You're in that moment, that awkward social panic. You just met someone and their name is gone, completely vanished. It feels like a personal failure, doesn't it? Well, what if I told you the science behind it is not only fascinating, but it might just make you feel a whole lot better about your own brain?
You know the drill. You shake their hand, you're making eye contact, they say, "Hi, I'm Sarah," and your brain just lets it float away. Poof! It goes in one ear and right out the other. And then you're stuck, just trying to navigate the rest of the conversation without ever having to say their name again. It's so common, but why? Why does this happen all the time?
So here's the big idea that changes everything. This isn't a flaw in your memory. Nope. It's actually the complete opposite. That little blank space where a name should be is really a symptom of your brain working in total overdrive, processing a massive amount of information all at once. It's not a weakness. It's a sign that you have a very, very active mind.
To really get this, let's think of your brain kind of like a computer CPU, its central processing unit. Now, imagine you're in a new social situation. That CPU is getting bombarded with an incredible number of tasks all at the same time. It's not just listening, it's computing an entire social reality in fractions of a second.
The first thing you gotta understand is that you are never, ever just doing one thing. That idea of having a singular focus when you meet someone new, it's pretty much a myth. Your brain's attention immediately shatters into a dozen different pieces, all going to different channels. So while you think you're just listening to a name, your brain is actually mapping their facial features, it's analyzing their vocal pitch for emotional cues, it's reading their posture, it's trying to follow the actual words they're saying. Oh, and here's the big one. It's desperately trying to figure out what you're gonna say next so you don't sound like an idiot. A simple name, it has a ton of competition. Okay, so with all of that information just flooding the system, it's pretty much inevitable that your brain is going to hit a bottleneck. Now, this isn't a crash, it's more like a strategic freeze. And this brings us right to the core scientific reason you forget that name, what we call the overload effect. And there's the term right there, cognitive overload. See, your working memory, it's like a tiny little table where you put the things you're currently dealing with. But the thing is, it has a really limited capacity. So when way too much information gets thrown onto that table all at once, stuff starts to fall off. Your brain has to make a split-second decision about what's important enough to keep and what gets the boot. This is a great way to picture it. Your brain is basically a bouncer at a super exclusive club. It's got a velvet rope and a very strict door policy. It is not letting just any piece of information into the long-term memory VIP lounge. It has to decide instantly which data is important, which data has connections, and which is just, noise. So this is the crucial question, right? Why does the name almost always get turned away by that mental bouncer? Well, the answer is all about what a name actually is to your brain in that first moment. It's nothing more than an arbitrary label. Look at this. On the left, you have all this rich, meaningful data. Things like their job, a shared interest, an emotional connection from a funny story. These things have hooks, right? They can connect to stuff already in your brain. And then, on the right, you just have the name David. On its own, it has zero context. It's just a random string of sounds with no meaning attached. Your brain is an efficiency machine. It's constantly looking for meaning. So when it hears software engineer, it can immediately link that to concepts of tech, logic, maybe a friend you have who's an engineer. But when it hears David, it has nothing. There's nothing to attach it to. It's just this floating piece of arbitrary data. And in a state of cognitive overload, that is always the first thing to get filtered out. So this all builds into a really clear process. First, the name is spoken. That's the input. Instantly, your brain hits cognitive overload from all the other social stuff. The bouncer steps in, filters it, and flags the name as a non-essential arbitrary label. And the result? The name never gets encoded into memory. It's not that you forgot it, it's that you never really stored it in the first place. And here is where we get to flip this whole idea on its head. This process doesn't mean your brain is broken or flawed. Far from it. This filtering system, it's an incredible feature, not a bug. It's a survival mechanism, and it's all about efficiency. And this right here, this is the single most important takeaway. Just let that sink in for a second. Your brain isn't failing you. It's actually succeeding at its most important job, finding and creating meaning. Forgetting a name is a sign of a brain that is actively engaged with the world, a brain that is hunting for connections and understanding, not just collecting empty labels. So this is your new mental script. The next time you blank on a name, instead of feeling that wave of embarrassment, just take a second and appreciate what your brain was doing. It was processing a human being, not just a name tag. It was focused on the connection, the context, the meaning of the interaction. And that leaves us with one last kind of mind-blowing thought to chew on. This automatic filtering process. It's happening all day, every single day, protecting your brain's precious resources. So if it's smart enough to discard a random name to help you focus on what's actually meaningful, what other noise, what other distractions is it quietly filtering out for your benefit without you even realizing it?